Come on in, guys. Come on in. Good day, Sunday. I love Sundays. It's a great day to have a conversation. For those of you who are not out there working or otherwise occupied, I'm continuing my look into country music. Um, from time to time, I take a little time to learn about um, an artist. Sometimes, like this time, the artist is an icon. Um, Let me see something. Should I? Let's see. Should I? YouTube. And then let's see what happens. Okay, so that happened. Let's see. All right. Sometimes the person that I'm learning about happens to be an icon. In fact, a lot of the times here on this channel, it's an icon or an iconic figure that I'm learning about. So I'm continuing that today on Sunday, the 14th of July. The summer is marching on. I hope you and yours are having a good one so far. Crazy stuff. How could I come on here and not address the elephant in the room? Crazy stuff happening. Um, I know Biden was going to jump on the TV tonight. I'm assuming it's already happened. I didn't see it. My heart just goes out to the person's family. I forget the gentleman's name, the firefighter that was killed. My heart goes out to his family, his children, his wife. Most unfortunate. I'm old enough to remember the Reagan thing. We all saw that. It was like, whoa. Um, Hope Mr. Trump is doing well. It sounds like, from all of the reports and stuff that have been posted, that has been posted, sounds like he's doing okay. That's good to know. Um, yeah, that bullet got close. Crazy times, people. Crazy times. Crazy times in the land. But we gonna be all right. We always seem to be, with all of our trials and tribulations and civil wars. I mean, say what you want to say about the place, but it hasn't, you know, exploded or anything like that. I think stuff is fixable. Trying times. Laurie Thomas is in the building. I hope you're doing well today, Laurie, on this Sunday fun day. How are things in your part of Texas? Did the weather affect you at all? Did Beryl do anything in your neck of the woods? What's going on? I know I have friends and loved ones in Houston, where I grew up, who are still without electricity. It is July 14th. Uh, what was Beryl? Over a week ago? So, yeah, really interested to hear about your neck of the woods, Lori, and whether or not you were impacted um, by the weather. So, I had some folks over last night, and I was on the grill, doing what I do, doing it really well, I might add. And, walked in the house with the stuff, and everybody's watching the TV. Nobody bothered to call the chef to let him know what was going on. Everybody's just like, I'm like, what are they watching? Basketball season is over. Football's right around the corner. And they were watching, this unfolding um, situation out there in Pennsylvania. Um, I tell you what, man, I was so impressed. Again, obviously, there's a lot of stuff we don't know yet, right? But I really like the way the Secret Service sprang into action, and um, how cool was it to have that open, that hot mic? Um, we got to hear it all. We got to hear, you know, the whole thing. Extraordinary. Just, um, I mean, we're here and now, but imagine people watching that in like 20 years. You know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy living through this actual major historical stuff. Um, yeah, they going interesting times. This is not a political show. I am not a pundit, although I could be. Um, so that's happening. I was reminded not long ago that it's been a tough time um, for artists. We've lost so many of them in the past couple of years. I mean, just greatness, transitioning. Um, Someone in the comments pointed out to me that Joe, somebody will help me with his last name here in a second, from the Oak Ridge Boys, um, passed away. Let's see. I know you probably already put it in the chat. But I want to look this up real quick because I do want to credit. Um, I have it somewhere, maybe. Hmm. Joe from the Oak Ridge Boys passed this week. Um, I, of course, um, have done a deep dive into the Oak Ridge Boys. It was a fun dive, learned a lot. And yes, there are a couple of songs that stick out. Um, the class of whatever the year was, I don't remember right now. But that class, great song. Let me look this up real quick. Bonsall. Bonsall? 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 The bass. Okay. Mhm. Lori's in the building. Nicole is in the building. Hey, Nicole. I just want to pop something up here real quick. 'Cause I just learned about this. So let me make this a little bit bigger. All right, let's see how this looks. Let's get it up there. Okay. I can make that a little bit bigger. Okay, let's try this. So the correct pronunciation, I'm not sure. Joe Bonsall, I'm going to say. A 50-year member of the Oak Ridge Boys, dead at 76. So this was on the 9th of July. Okay. All right, 4 days ago. Okay. This is from CNN. Yeah, very recognizable. I know he is to you guys, but to me, older gentleman, but classic features. Um, yeah, love his voice. Joe Bonsall, 50-year member of the Oak Ridge Boys, dead at 76. Joe Bonsall, who left the legendary singing group, the Oak Ridge Boys, after 50 years in January, um, due to an illness, a neuromuscular disorder, died. This is according to his management team on Tuesday. He was 76. Again, this is all new to me, so I'm just checking it out. Bonsall died from complications of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS. It's a degenerative nervous system disease that affects the brain and the spinal cord. Yeah. Apparently, he announced on social media about 6 months ago that he was leaving the group due to his illness. Um, Here's a statement. Here's a quote. Many of you know I've been battling a slow onset over 4 years now of a neuromuscular disorder. I am now to a point that walking is impossible. So I'm retiring from the road. It has just gotten too difficult. There they are at the Country Music Hall of Fame. Looks like they're receiving their Hall of Fame honors 2015. There's Joe, Dwayne, William Lee Golden, and Richard Sturban. You guys have helped me out with this. I know at some point with the Oak Ridge Boys, one of the original members, I believe, passed away, right? And then he was replaced. I just don't remember who replaced who, but I think it was the lead singer. Am I off my rocker? The Oak Ridge Boys will finish the farewell tour without me, but rest assured, I am good with all of it. God's got it. Good for you, brother. I am good with all of it. It sounds like a man who, you know, has thought it all the way through. He's all right with all of it. So these guys were originally founded in 1943 in the great and beautiful state of Tennessee. They're known for their songs such as Elvira, American Made. Bonzel joined the group in 1973. Okay. He became a member of the Grand Ole Opry. He was inducted into the Philadelphia Music Hall of Fame, the Gospel Hall of Fame, the Vocal Group Hall of Fame, and of course, the big daddy of them all, the Country Music Hall of Fame. The man was an author. So he wrote 11 books, including a memoir titled I See Myself, Musings and Memories of a Blessed Life, which is set to be published in November. Probably going to end up getting that book. He loved to sing. He loved to read. He loved to write. That was a part of the statement. He loved to play banjo. He loved working on the farm. What is it with you country people and farms? That was a joke. And he loved the Philadelphia Phillies. He's a baseball guy. But Jesus and his family always came first. And we will see him again, according to his representatives, on the promised day. I'm sure they're looking forward to that reunion. He's survived by his wife, Mary Ann, daughters Jennifer and Sabrina, his granddaughter, Brianne, grandson, Luke, and great-grandsons, Chance and Gray, and his sister, Nancy. Joe Bonzel, dead at 76. Fair winds and following seas, brother. Be safe out there. So I was also told that Richard Simmons also recently transitioned. I'm going to come over and check the chat real quick to see who is in the house. There are some people here. At one point, William Lee Golden left and he was replaced. Then he came back a few years later. Right? Yeah, I remember reading some of that stuff back when we did that deep dive. Yeah. Lou Gehrig's disease, that's right, named after I want to say he was a New York Yankee, maybe, baseball player. Yeah. Yep, he died on the 9th. All right. So, yeah, I mean, that was shared with me. Um, and again, fair winds and following seas to our dearly departed. Um, let's see. Kobe Jones. You know what? I'm gonna only because I haven't seen this yet. I'm just gonna bring this up real quick. Let me make sure we're good here. Okay. Yeah, I mean it just came across my thing, so I'll look at it real quick and see what's up here. So man killed at Trump rally, identified as firefighter Corey Comparatori, who died a hero. Tragic, man. Absolute tragedy. The man was out there exercising his, right to assemble. It's a firefighter, Corey Comparatori, I believe. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, um, a hero sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers, um, said Joe Biden in an address from the Oval Office on Sunday night. I haven't seen the address. Um, yeah. You guys may know this, but bear with me. This is my first time seeing this. It's been a busy day. So they identified the kid, 20 years old. Man, 20 years old. Matthew Crooks. They put him down with the quickness. Of course, they're investigating it as an assassination attempt. Okay. I asked Corey's wife if it would be okay for me to share that we spoke. I think this is Biden speaking. She said yes. She also asked that I share with all of you that Corey died a hero. This is Shapiro. Corey, he dove on his family to protect them. He was a girl dad. firefighter. He went to church every Sunday, loved his community, loved his family. Yeah. Sad. There were two other people injured in the incident. Um, one person, Corey, unfortunately lost his life. Okay. There's that. All right. Thank you for letting me get up to speed on the news of the day. So, um, Good Day Sunday. That's what this is. It's July 14th. And is there anybody else in the world of music who passed on? I know Richard Simmons did. Uh, Entertainment. What a character, Richard Simmons, right? What a character. I mean, he was, I'm not making any judgments here, although I can. Um, he was just way out there. He was. I liked the curly fro. Um, were they hot pants? Would that be an appropriate term for his attire most of the time? Did I lose you? Anybody out there? Richard Simmons was a hoot. He was funny. At least when I knew about him. I think there was somebody in the house that would, I don't know, exercise along with him or have his videotape or something. I vaguely, or was that me? No, it wasn't. Yeah. Thanks, Nicole, for helping me out there. Yeah, that statement was written by podcaster and media personality Ben Shapiro. Um, yeah. So yeah, we lost Richard Simmons. Um, yeah, just sad. But we're going to transition ourselves right now to what we came here for. So much has been happening in country music of late. So much has been happening in country music of late. As a matter of fact, let me do this real quick. Um, let's see here. Check that off. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to share something real quick. Okay, right here. Let's see if this works. The number one song, the number one country song right now in the country. See what I did there? is a bar song, Tipsy by Shabuzi. I have never heard, yes, I'm not going to lie. I can't lie to you guys. I was riding in the car the other day listening to some news show. I'm not going to say what news show because some of you are judgy and you might judge me. No, not going to tell you. And they played the song and they were talking about how it has just blown up, and it's everywhere. It was my first time hearing about the song. It was my first time hearing about the artist. That tells you how plugged in I am to stuff. Um, and obviously, the fact that he is a person of color, as some would say, um, came up. Um, it's a, I guess, a part of the country music narrative, right? I mean, um, anytime a black artist emerges in the genre, I mean, smart people who can observe, are going to you know um, be somewhat interested in the fact that this is it's a very rare occasion, and some people are going to talk about it in those terms, which I think is 100% okay. Um, so I heard some of the song and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Of course, the comparison to Charley Pride was also a part of the conversation, right? The last time that an African American country artist had a number one record, it was, Mr. Charley Pride so many years back, and the legacy and so on and so forth. We have that whole conversation about country music, which is all new to me. So for me, it's information, it's data, it's good stuff. I thought that was really cool. So this happened the other day. Prior to this happening, I was in my comments responding. My personal secretary was off that day, so I actually had to do the responding. Um, and so I believe, I don't remember, I could be lying here. At some point, I asked the question to someone, who should my next deep dive be on? I think I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to try to pull it up. And at Tallest Mountain, I'm sure she won't mind me putting her on blast like this, said that, yo, and I'm paraphrasing. She didn't say yo. It had that effect. She was like, yo, PJ, hey, it's time to do a deep dive on Charley Pride. Um, Full circle here, guys. Full circle. Good Day Sunday. Learning about Mr. Charley Pride, the number one country song in the country, is a bar song, which I want to talk to you guys about here in a second, by Shabuzi. If we're feeling funky, we might even, I don't know, maybe react to it if I can figure out how to do that without calling Mr. H. We'll see. Um, a bar song. Have you guys heard the song? Um, I know a lot of you here are traditionalists or purists as it relates to the kind of country music. Well, I know for my channel, a lot of folks on here are into, I mean, it's mostly a classic country music channel. Mostly. Sometimes it's jazz. The beauty of having your own channel is the beauty of having your own channel. I'm not a purist, just way behind the times. Robin, my good buddy out there in the beautiful state of Utah. You know, John, by the way, welcome. Um, I started out with the with older country music as far as my reactions. And then obviously at some point I started listening to more recent stuff. Of late, the red dirt stuff, which from what I understand is sort of an offshoot. Um, yeah, no question, man. The music, like all music, trust me, country music purists are not the only ones sitting around bemoaning the quality of the voices, of the production. You know, it's not only you guys, trust me. Um, that's a problem everywhere. I do get it. I get it. It definitely has changed. Now, for me, the change, the newer stuff that I've heard, I can get down with some of it, no question. I've heard some good new stuff, newer country music stuff. Um, yeah, very different. You're absolutely right. No question about that. And I'm starting to understand what I've seen in my comment section for over 2 years. Um, people, yeah, bemoaning the fact that the music has changed so much and not for the better. That country music radio has changed, Nashville, the whole thing. But I'm wondering if there's a new renaissance afoot in country music. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening. And I just wonder how that's all going down. Sometimes new can be hard to digest. You know what I'm saying? John, JPB, yeah, man. I love 50s stuff, country music. Um, I'm thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, of people like Farron Young, Wind Me Up. I'm thinking of people like uh, the guy who had the pool in the shape of the guitar, Price. Help me out. I do. I dig that era, um, for sure. Um, so what's going on with Nicole Jewell is the president, self-elected, I might add, of the uh, John Schneider fan club. According to her, people have been stealing and selling his stuff, like the urn with his late wife's ashes and their wedding rings and stuff. I hope he gets his stuff back. Definitely. Um, okay. So, yeah. Country music sure has changed. Okay, specifically about this song by Shabuzi. Has anybody heard the song? Has anybody heard the song? The number one country song in the country right now. Has anybody heard it? What can you tell me about the artist and about the song? I've heard snippets on the radio, but I haven't really listened to that song. I'm just curious. I'm just interested in what you think about it. Okay. Um, Good Day Sunday. We do this from time to time where I jump on here and just do what I'm doing now. Um, lose my train of thought, just kind of jump around uh, like a schoolgirl jumping double dutch. What I'm going to attempt to do today is to learn about a pioneering country music artist from Sledge, Mississippi. He is, in fact, the pride of Sledge, Mississippi, Mr. Charley Pride. Now, I've reacted to several Charley Pride songs. I haven't counted them. Probably, if I were to hazard a guess, more than six, maybe. So I've heard a little Charley Pride. Um, the first one that I reacted to, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, was Kiss an Angel Good Morning. And I was blown away by that song. Just um, an unforgettable song. Um, and then, the comments started. And so we've listened to some Charley Pride. I appreciate his artistry, love his voice, love his selection of songs. I mean, everything I've heard from Charley Pride has just been mm, meaningful, just like really good, solid songs. I haven't heard anything that I'm like, eh. So I do deep dives from time to time, and nothing like a good day Sunday for a nice deep dive. So, if you will, I ain't promising you nothing, nada. I am going to, I have, you know what? Let me see. Where is this thing at? There it is. Okay. I have this thing, and I want to see if this helps me. Charley Pride was an influential figure in the world of country music. I think that's been clearly established. Um, Here are 10 of the most important things to know about Charley Pride. Number one, I feel like there should be a drum roll. Pioneering African American country artist. Charley Pride was one of the few African American artists to achieve major success in the predominantly white genre of country music. His success helped pave the way for future African American artists in the genre, like Shabuzi, who has the number one country song in the country. Number two, early life and baseball career. Charley was born on March 18 in 1934. He was born in Sledge, Mississippi. So he wanted to be a baseball player at first, from what I understand, and really pursued that. He was really good. He played in the Negro Leagues and had tryouts with Major League Baseball teams before deciding to laser in on his other big love, country music. Number three, breakthrough hit. Charlie's breakthrough came in 1967 with the release of Just Between You and Me, which earned him his first Grammy nomination and was the song to help establish Charley Pride as a major country music star. I am going through the 10 most important things I need to know. And if you don't know, you need to know about Mr. Charley Pride. So he got his breakthrough hit in 1967 um, with Just Between You and Me. Number four, numerous hits. Over his career, Charley Pride had 52 top 10 hits on the Billboard Country Songs chart. 52 top 10 hits, including 30 that got all the way to number one. Some of his most famous songs include Kiss an Angel, Good Morning, which was my introduction to Mr. Pride. Is Anybody Going to San Antone, which cracked me up the first time I reacted to it and made me believe that Charley Pride was a comedian. I know most of you have heard this song, but when I listened to it, I was like, this is funny. Um, it wasn't funny to our guy that the song was about. Great song. Is Anybody Going to San Antone? I had a ball reacting to that one. You should check it out. Um, so one of his biggest hits um, is Anybody Going to San Antone? And of course, there was Mountain of Love. So some of his biggest hits include Kiss an Angel, Good Morning, which I've heard and reacted to. Is Anybody Going to San Antone? Mountain of Love, I have not heard yet. So numerous hits over his career. That was the fourth most important thing that I need to know about Charley Pride. Number five, awards and honors. Pride won numerous awards throughout his career, including 3 Grammy Awards and the Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year Award in 1971. In 2000, he was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Now, I have heard in the comments that Loretta Lynn was the person to present Charley with his award, I believe. Somebody help me. And Loretta had received some specific instruction as it related to how to deal with Charley. Remember, we were living through some sensitive times. And so if you know the story, let's talk about it. Awards and honors. CM Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year in 71. And he has received, over the course of his career, 3 Grammy Awards. The sixth most important thing that I'm going to learn, or that I'm learning about Charley Pride, is he was a trailblazer for racial equality. I didn't know that. I just thought he sang country music. As one of the few Black artists in country music during his time, Pride faced and overcame significant racial barriers. His success was a milestone for racial integration in the genre. Well, somebody's got to be first. Way to go, Charley. The seventh most important thing that I'm going to learn about Mr. Charley Pride is about his Grand Ole Opry membership He became a member in 1993. One of the biggest deals, one of the highest honors in country music. Is that still the case today? Is I appreciate the history of the Grand Ole Opry. I know some of it, the Ryman, not a lot. I know a little bit. Does it still have the same significance as it once did as it relates to membership? My guess would be probably yes. The eighth most important thing that I'm going to learn about Charley Pride is his influence and legacy. Pride's influence extends beyond music. He inspired many artists and contributed to the broader acceptance and inclusion of African American musicians in country music. Blame Charley. He did it. When you're a trailblazer and you blaze a trail, and people are like, what did he just do? They're going to hit that trail. Shabuzi. Later in life and death, the ninth most important thing to know about Mr. Charley Pride. He continued to perform well into his 70s and 80s. He also recorded music well into his later years. Charley passed away on the 12th of December of 2020 due to complications of COVID-19. Pride shared his life story in his autobiography, Pride, the Charley Pride story, which I am going to read at some point. The book gives an in-depth look at his journey through music and life, providing personal insights and anecdotes. Well, that's kind of what an autobiography is all about. I'm not a librarian, but there is one right here with us. Well, I thought this was a good start for me. Remember, I'm learning about Mr. Charley Pride. Let me see. What did I find interesting about this list that I just went through? The 10 most important things that I should know about Charley Pride. Of course, this was just one person's list. Sure, he's a pioneer. He was the first. I knew about his baseball stuff. I've seen him interviewed. He was on a book tour. And I saw a really, really good interview with Charley Pride, and he talked about his love for baseball and that whole journey. So that didn't surprise me too much. I didn't know anything about his breakthrough hit, 1960s, with the release of Just Between You and Me. I'm assuming that was a song and not an album, right? I knew he had a bunch of hits. Well, I assumed he did. I did not know how many Grammys he had won. I did know that he was, the man in 1971. I knew he was a Grand Ole Opry member. Yeah, so I guess I knew a couple of things. What I am going to do now is to come back to the chat. And, okay, let me get rid of this. Thank you, Robin. In answer to my question about the Grand Ole Opry, yeah, great answer. Is she accurate, though, people? It hasn't been at the Ryman for years. I did mention the Ryman, but I was also aware that they did move into a newer facility, and still pretty influential. Oh, so Robin, I was asking about the number one country song in the nation by Shabuzi, who happens to be an African American artist. Bar song, Tipsy, I think it is. So Robin says she just looked it up, and she could hear a lot of influence in it, and it's a good song. But she's questioning whether it's country or not. Listen, Robin questions whether Leanne Rhymes is country. I kid the troll. I kid the troll. Um, yes, Lori. In reference to me talking about artists from the 50s that I like, and I hope I placed them um, in the right decade. Yes, I was talking about Ray Price, who I love. I haven't done enough of him. I've done some of his classics. Whoo! I didn't know that stuff was country music. Um, but I know now. For the good times, oh man, wow. That song, I was like an instant fan right there. I'm like, okay, Mr. Price, where do I sign? Um, John, I listen to music before deciding if I like it or not. Yeah. First of all, I listen to all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. If there's a new music craze emanating out of South Africa, like you, Mr. JPB, I want to see if it's something I can get into. I want to see, okay, where are these guys coming from with this? Um, yeah, I'm just curious like that. Was it, what is it linked to? How did it all get started? Yeah, I listen to music before deciding if I like it or not. I just don't see that it's Beyonce putting out a country song and decide that it's not country. I don't argue with that particular point of view. I don't think that way. People are different. I like John Paul Bacon. I love that last name, by the way. Um, yeah, Robin. I mean, it's been going on forever. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it? We all get old and like, what's that new crap? Get the hell off my lawn. It happens. And maybe there are great reasons for it. Maybe it's crap. Um, but not everybody thinks that. I'm like, whatever. I like what I like. And if you don't like it, then that's your business. And I'm fine with that. You don't have to like, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, so not too many people have heard the song. I think I'm going to end up reacting to it and throwing it up on the new channel, on the newer country music channel. Good day, Sunday. It is July 14th. Good day, Sunday is, I pop on solo and I hang out with you guys, talk a little country music, learn some stuff, Mostly I'm doing the learning. You guys are doing the teaching. Today, in anticipation of my upcoming deep dive into the pride of Sledge, Mississippi, Mr. Charley Pride, we're doing some advanced work. Who is this guy? Where's he from? As a matter of fact, party people, um, where the hell is Sledge, Mississippi? Okay. Okay, I'm going to pop something up here on the screen in a second. Turn that off. All right, here we go. All right. So I know Charley Pride was born in Sledge, Mississippi. Why do I want to look up where he's from? Some of you know. Some of you are wired like that. Okay, so Sledge, Mississippi. Located in, is that Kitman County? Kitman County, Mississippi? Oh, my Lord. Oh. This town is smaller than Robinstown in Utah. I think there are like 7 people in Robinstown. As of the 2020 census, Sledge, Mississippi had a total population of 368 people. Do those places still exist? That's like a subdivision, like 2 streets. Sledge, Mississippi. According to the Census Bureau, the town has a total area of 0.5 square miles. Wow. One. Okay. Interesting. So what's going on in Sledge? 368 of you. What's going on? So 529 people, 170 households, 133 families live in the town. Okay. Not adding up. $368. Okay, what's happening in Sledge? Okay, median income, notable people, of course. Kate Campbell. Don't know who Kate Campbell is. I don't think. Charley Pride and Matt Pride. Any relation to Charley Pride? Charlie's older brother. Okay, that's right. Wow. His brother played ball. He batted and threw right handed. Pride spent 2 seasons in the Negro American League pitching with the Memphis Red Sox. In the 1955 season, and for the Kansas City Monarchs in 1956. He picked up the nickname Mac the Knife. Okay, so Charley Pride's older brother actually played baseball in the Negro Leagues. I did hear about that in 2008. Okay, all right. Connect the dots like Kendrick, y'all. They not like us. Let's see. Okay, so the most famous people to come out of Sledge, Charlie and his brother. Mama must have been proud. Okay, uh, that's Sledge. Um, what part of the state is that? Northwest. Northwestern part of the state. All right. Okay. Let's go back to. So, a December baby like me, I'm the 27th of December. Um, I'm sorry. He was born on March 18th, 1934. He died December 12th. Okay. I I don't think I've seen Charlie playing the guitar. Maybe I have, maybe once or twice. I didn't know he played the guitar. Um, Charlie Frank Pride. Okay. So his greatest musical successes were in the late 1960s and early to mid 70s. Okay. Late 1960s, a lot happening, a lot of change, and early to mid 1970s. Interesting times. During that time, he was the best selling artist for RCA Records. During his peak years of recording, 1966 through 1987, he had 52 top 10 hits on the charts that matter. We talked about this. 30 of them became number one songs. All I Have to Offer You Is Me. I want to say I reacted to that one. Obviously, is anybody going to San Antone? Kiss an Angel, Good Morning. Um, among others, typified the countrypolitan style. Now, where have I heard that before? The first time I heard that term It came from um, at Tallest Mountain. I'm pretty sure. And I learned all about what the countrypolitan style of country music was. Very polished. Let's see. In the early 1960s, the Nashville sound began to be challenged by the rival Bakersfield sound on the country side and by the British invasion on the pop side. Lot happening in the early 60s, man. Beatlemania? Compounding these problems were the sudden deaths in separate airplane crashes of Patsy Cline and Jim Reeves, two of the Nashville Sound's biggest stars. Oh, wow. I didn't know that they had both passed that close together. Nashville's pop song structure became more pronounced and it morphed or changed into what was called countrypolitan, a smoother sound typified through the use of lush string arrangements with a real orchestra. Orchestra? Get a rope. And often background vocals provided by a choir. They changed it up. Countrypolitan was aimed straight at mainstream markets, and its music sold well through the later 1960s into the mid 1970s. Charley Pride was a part of that whole thing. Among the architects of the countrypolitan sound were producers. I've seen this name. I credit producers. What other reactor? Stop, PJ. Stop it. It's not about you. So Billy Sherrill, who was instrumental in shaping Tammy Wynette's early career, and Glenn Sutton, a name that I'm not so familiar with. So those two guys, Billy Sherrill, I know you. All right, so they were formulating the countrypolitan sound. So Tammy Wynette, Charlie Rich, don't know Charlie Rich, heard the name, and Charley Pride. I can now associate Charley Pride with countrypolitan. And so can you now. Lynn Anderson, Glenn Campbell, one of my favorite country music artists, Glenn Campbell. Love Glenn Campbell. George Jones. George Jones's style of the era successfully fused the countrypolitan sound with the honky tonk style that made him famous. Okay. Thank you, Wikipedia. We've established, what have I established here? You guys taking notes? All right. So that's what Charlie did. That's where he was. That was his pigeonhole. He became a crossover star. A lot of his stuff ended up on the pop charts. 1971, he won the Entertainer of the Year award. Was awarded a Grammy for Best Country Vocal Performance Male in 1972. He later went into gospel music. He released his first gospel album titled Did You Think to Pray? Well, Charlie, I had a lot on my mind, and with the stress of it all, Charlie, I know I was too busy drinking. Did not think to pray. But I think I'll take a knee right now, Charlie. Would you pray with me? Interesting stuff. Did you think the Prey dropped in 1971? Mr. Pride is one of three African American members of the Grand Ole Opry. You guys got to do better. Three? Come on. I'm putting out a record. DeFord Bailey, I learned about. He was the first person of African descent uh, to join the Opry. There's Darius Rucker, who Nicole in the chat recently alluded to. Loved Darius Rucker. Loved him from way back with Hootie and the Blowfish. Undeniable. You talk about vocals. Yeah, he's just unbelievable. The sound that emanates out of his mouth, the volume of it, his control, his ability um, to just do really interesting stuff with his voice. Darius makes you feel so good. Brother Darius. Charley Pride, DeFord Bailey, and Darius Rucker. Pride was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2000. So this is crazy. I learned this during when I first did my initial reactions to Charley Pride. So Charlie's dad intended for his name to be Charles. And I don't know if I believe that, but it's on the internet. It says it right here. His dad wanted his name to be Charles Frank. I don't know if he had a thing against E's and S's. Not sure what that was all about. But here's the crazy twist. So his dad wanted to call him Charles. What the hell happened here? What did I do? What did I do? All right. Let me fix it. Can I bring it back? No, I can't. All right. It's all good. All right. So let me make sure I am, in fact, sharing this. And I'm not, of course. Okay. Here we go. All right. Okay. So, yeah, crazy. Dad wanted to call him Charles for whatever reason, Charles Frank Pride. But because of a clerical error with his birth certificate, his legal name was changed to Charley Frank Pride. All I have to say is thank God for clerical errors. What were you trying to do to this young man? I've never heard the name Charles, but people swear that this is a real story. Yeah, I don't know. So, a baseball, I know about the baseball stuff. So, when Charlie was 14, his mom bought him his first guitar. He taught himself how to play. I didn't know that. I keep thinking, if I buy myself a guitar, I'll teach myself to. Charley Pride did it. How many times, how many stories I've heard of people buying guitars, but those people probably actually have a brain. and can think through complex stuff. Nah, I am not teaching myself how to play no guitar. It's not going to work. I'm going to need some help, a whole lot of help. Charley taught himself to play the guitar at the age of 14. He loved music, but he wanted to be a pitcher. And so he did. In 1952, he pitched for the Memphis Red Sox of the Negro American Leagues. It just sounds weird saying that. But history. In 1953, he signed a contract with the Boise Yankees, the Class C farm team of the New York Yankees. He got injured during that season and could no longer throw a fastball. He was sent to the D team, and, you know, he made a decision that after a couple other stops that he would plunge himself into music. Before that, he was drafted into the United States Army in 1956. He was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, where he was a quartermaster and played on the fort's baseball team. Athletic, singer, grew up in a small town, a micro town, a very large neighborhood. Okay. Apparently, his singing ability came to the attention of the team manager, who also paid him to sing for 15 minutes before each game. It actually increased the attendance, and Charley earned another $10 on top of the $10 that he earned for each game. Charley friggin' Pride. That was a lot of money, $10. During that time, he also played gigs in the local area. Let's see. He had a dangerous job as a smelter. You don't want to be a smelter. He once broke his ankle. He routinely unloaded coal from railroad cars, back-breaking work, shoveling this coal into a 2,400 degree Fahrenheit furnace. He got burned all the time. In a 2014 interview, Pride explained, "I would work at the smelter, work the swing shift, and then play my music. I'd work 11 to 7, drive, play Friday, punch in, drive." I mean, when you got a dream, somebody's got to drive. So between his smelter job, the job that gave him frequent burns, 2,400 degree furnace, shoveling coal, so back-breaking work, strong man, hard-working man. He came from that type of family. You don't just wake up and be like, you know what, I'm going to go work in a smelter. That's what I'll do. I ain't going to Burger King. I'm going to work in a smelter. 2,400 degrees. I'm ready. That kind of discipline was laid down. So between his smelter job and his music, he made a good living, a living in the Helena area. He moved his wife and son to join him, and they lived in Helena until 1967. They bought their first house in Helena. So they had their kids by this time, Dion and Angela. They moved to Montana. What are you doing up in Montana, bro? Montana? Is there Popeyes in Montana? So they moved to Great Falls, Montana in 1967 because his music was happening, it was taking off, and they needed to be close to an airport. Practical. They left Montana and moved to Texas in 69. In a 1967 interview with the Independent Record, his wife, Rosine Pride, commented that the family encountered minor racism in Montana, citing an incident where they were refused service in a restaurant, and another time when a realtor refused to show them a home. But she felt that the family endured less racism than she saw leveled against local Native American people, whose treatment she compared to that given to Black people in the South. Pride has generally spoken with fondness of the near decade he spent there. I had no idea he lived up in Big Sky country. Okay, Mr. Charley Pride. Montana. Outdoors. Ruggedness. Rivers, streams, horses, smelters. While Charley was active in baseball, he was encouraged to join the music business by people like Red Sovine, which is a name I know. I've reacted to Red. I don't know what song right off the top of my head, but Red Sovine. Is he the teddy bear guy? Is he the narrator type guy? Maybe. But anyway, Red encouraged him to get into the country music business. Man, you got a voice. You need to go to Nashville, son. People like Red Foley. In 1958 in Memphis, Mr. Pride visited Sun's studio and laid down some tracks. He was doing his music while he lived in Montana. He performed his music solo at clubs and with a four-piece combo called the Nighthawks. Of course, they were called the Nighthawks. Charley's break came when Chet Atkins, everybody knows Chet, RCA Records. Chet heard his demo and was like, sign him up right now. It probably wasn't a great record deal. I don't know. But he heard that demo and decided, yeah, we need to get him in-house. Charley Pride dropped his first single for RCA, a song that I've reacted to. The Snakes Crawl at Night. This is in 1966. He was signed by a Nashville manager and agent, Jack D. Johnson. Okay, so Atkins, we all know he was the guy at RCA. He was responsible for such careers as Jim Reeves, who I know, Skeeter Davis, who I don't know. So they sent Charlie's stuff out to the radio stations. He was listed as Country Charley Pride. So there have long been stories about Pride's music being sent out to radio stations without a photo, which was different to the other country music artists. And I've heard that story. You know, they didn't send out his picture. They didn't want anybody to know he's black. Here it says Pride disputes that the omission of a photo was deliberate. He stated that getting promoters to bring in a black country singer was a bigger problem. People didn't care if I was pink. RCA signed me. They knew I was colored. They decided to put the record out and let it speak for itself. And they did. They see green. That boy can sing. Skeeter. Bien listo, Charley Pride. So while he was still in Montana, he made friends with a guy that owned a radio station. So he was still singing in local clubs. But he met Louis Allen, or Al Donahue, who owned radio stations, including KMON, the first stations to play Pride's records in Montana, or anywhere, for that matter. Small town. Exposure to all kinds of stuff. People guy. He been dealing with people and navigating with serious nuance for some time, and doing it at a really high level. All right, Mr. Charley Pride, I'm starting to get it a little bit. Soon after the release of The Snakes Crawl at Night, Price released another single, Before I Met You. It didn't chart. His third single, Just Between You and Me, was released. That one charted. It got to number 9 on the Hot Country Songs chart on the 25th of February in 1967. According to a news item by the Associated Press, Pride made this comment in a 1992 interview. You know, they used to ask me how it feels to be the first colored. There's a word that you don't hear too often, unless you're in South Africa. Because in South Africa, really interesting. They have blacks, they have whites, and they label people of mixed race as colored. And it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. So these mixed race people marry and interact with mixed race people. And so they're separate and distinct uh, category of race in South Africa. Really interesting. Very different to feel like I'm a wannabe history teacher, and I'm not. But it's my channel. I get to play history teacher if I want to. You can click something else. It's win-win. How can that be bad? This is the part of this where I lose complete track of where I was and everything. This is where it all goes to hell. Real quick. So they used to ask Charley Pride, hey man, how is it being like, dude, you're like the only black dude doing this stuff. What's going on, man? How they treating you? You good? Are you getting your money? I mean, just think of the perspective. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'd be asking him. I'd be like, hey, first of all, you good? Montana? Well, you're boycotting the South. So he said, they used to ask me how it feels to be the first colored country singer. Then it was the first Negro country singer. Then it was the first black country singer. Now, so clever, this Charley Pride. I'm appreciating him. Now I'm the first African American country singer. That's about the only thing that's changed. Charley friggin' Pride. Charley, I'm learning about you, sir. And I like it so far. The success of that song, just between you and me, was huge. We talked about him being nominated for a Grammy the next year. In the late summer of '66, he was booked for his first large show in Detroit's Olympia Stadium. 1966. So here's a part of the whole narrative, right? Since no biographical information had been included in those singles, the ones they sent out without pictures, few of the 10,000 country fans who came to the show knew Pride was black and discovered the fact only when he walked onto the stage, at which point the applause trickled off to silence. Yeah, I mean, the people are probably wondering, all right, when is the guy coming out? I can totally see it. Who's that fella? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, people are just like accustomed to seeing what there's. I mean, I'm trying to put myself there, right? Yeah. So I completely get where the silence would take place. What's happening? Yeah. When is the movie coming out? Charley says, I knew I'd had to get over it. No, I'm sorry, I messed that up. Botched it. I knew I'd have to get it over with sooner or later. Pride later remembered. I told the audience, remember, guys, I'm telling you, Pride is operating up here. Pride has engaged 100% of his brain. Long time ago. Must have been the heat from the smelter. But he's already operating. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's studied people his entire life. So he said, friends, I realize it's a little unique, me coming out there with a permanent suntan and all, to some Charley friggin' Pride. This has got to be true. It's in Wikipedia, right? It's on the internet. I did not know this part of the story. And this is why I do this stuff. It's incredible. And knowing and understanding what I do now know about Charley Pride, it's him to a T. That's exactly how he would approach it. Head on. The man wanted to be a baseball player and made it happen. It's incredibly difficult to become a professional baseball player, and he made it happen. The discipline, the hard work, the communication skills that you have to have. And then you're navigating the reality of your times. Respect. Friends, I realize it's a little unique, me coming out here with a permanent suntan to sing country and western to you, but that's the way it is. I would unhook my mic and drop it, but that would be unpleasant for you guys. A mic drop moment, if there ever was one. That's the way it is. That is so hilarious. And so Charley Pride. Well, the music eventually, as we all know how the story ended. The music won out, right? Like it usually does. And people are people, and you know, people are going to gravitate towards what they know and what they understand. And um, Charley understood this. Charley had a goal, and Charley was about achieving that goal. You know what I mean? He was about winning, and he had already thought this through. He knew sooner or later he had to get it over with. All right. So he got in the door and turned up the volume. Between 1969 and 1971, Pride had 8 singles that reached number 1 on the U.S. Country Hit Parade and also charted on the Billboard 100. All I have to offer you is me. I'm so afraid of losing you again. I can't believe that you've stopped loving me. I'd rather love you instead of your sister. I take that back. I'd rather love you. Is anybody going to San Antone? Ooh, that was way off. I can't believe that you've stopped loving me. I'd rather love you. Is anybody on Sunstone? Wonder could I live there anymore? I'm just me. Kiss an angel good morning. The pop success of these songs reflected the country pop crossover sound that was the reality in country music in the 1960s and 1970s, that countrypolitan stuff. In 1969, his compilation album, The Best of Charley Pride, sold more than 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc. My puppies are crying. I need to put them out real quick. So if there's anybody out there, give me 2 seconds and I'll be right back. I don't want to deal with no catastrophe. Okay, puppies. I know. You're hungry. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, let's see. That's done. Um, okay. Let's see. Okay, so we just talked about um, the fact that between 69 and 71, he had 8 singles that reached number one. Uh, he was a trailblazer, so he was the first to do that. Part of his narrative. Beautiful thing. Uh, Shabuzi. you know, that was all Charley Pride. And these songs, again, had um, that crossover appeal of the countrypolitan stuff, the lush strings orchestration, that was in part a response to basically just a lot of stuff happening in music in general. You had the rock stuff really taken off, the British stuff. You had two major country artists, Patsy Cline and Jim Reeves. They die. They leave a huge gaping hole. And so, there's a constant change, right? Constant innovation that's happening here. And Charley is with RCA in this wave of change and new stuff happening. Interesting times. In 69, his compilation album, The Best of Charley Pride, sold more than 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc. Ultimately, Elvis Presley was the only artist who sold more records than Pride for RCA. He performed All His Children, which was featured in the film Sometimes a Great Nation. I've never heard of this film. I'm sorry, A Great Notion. It's a 1971 American drama directed by Paul Newman. It starred Newman, Henry Fonda, Michael Sarrazin, and Lee Remick. The cast also includes Richard Shackle in an Academy Award nominated performance. Sometimes a Great Notion. Interesting. Okay. So he's been in a movie score. His biggest hit, Kiss an Angel Good Morning, in my introduction. In 71, Charlie released what would become his biggest hit, Kiss an Angel Good Morning, a million selling crossover single. The same year, he won the Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year, as well as its top male vocalist in 1971 and 72. What a time that must have been. Um, what was the talk? What was the. There's no social media. There's no memes. There's none of that. No trends. No TikToks. What was happening? What were the people thinking? Change. It became Kiss an Angel Good Morning became Pride's signature tune. Um, it was his only pop top 40 hit. It went to 21 on the pop charts and got all the way to number 10 on the adult contemporary charts. Wide appeal, this song had. Nice. Another thing I've heard about Mr. Charley Pride is the whole Ireland thing. So what I've heard goes kind of like this. Charley Pride is huge in Ireland. Oh, they love him. There was a time when, the Troubles, the warring factions, the Protestants and the Catholics. And I guess this was during the 70s, I want to say, maybe. I'll find out here in a second. Um, there were several acts scheduled to play over there during some really difficult times. The factions were really going at each other and stuff. And a lot of people pulled out. I ain't trying to get killed over there, y'all. No. I'll go to Kentucky. I'll do Boston. I'll do Lubbock. I ain't going to Ireland. No, Northern Ireland. A lot of people pulled out. But Charlie said, you know what? I ain't pulling out of nothing. And that is so Charley Pride. During the rest of the 70s and into the 1980s, Pride continued to rack up country music hits. He was ubiquitous. He was everywhere. Other Pride standards from this period include Mississippi Cotton Pick and Delta Town, which I've not heard and I haven't reacted to, but I will be soon. Someone Loves You, Honey. When I Stop Leaving, I'll Be Gone, which makes sense to me. Burgers and Fries I've reacted to. I Don't Think She's in Love Anymore. I have not reacted to. Roll On, Mississippi. I have reacted to, and I loved it. My man is on a riverboat singing about the mighty Mississippi. Beautiful song, afro, looking good. I think he had a couple of chains on. The column must have been 3 feet. Never been so loved in all my life, and you're so good when you're so bad. That's how we like them, Charlie. Like many other country performers, Pride paid tribute to Hank Williams with an album of songs that were all written by Hank, titled "There's a Little Bit of Hank in Me." I had no idea he had done that. Did you? Had no friggin' idea that he did a tribute album to Hank Williams. Now, I have heard of the song Cowliga. I don't believe I've reacted to it. I have not seen him do Honky Tonk Blues, but I did not know that, and that's why I do this stuff. Pride sold more than 70 million records, singles, albums, and compilations. He sold a ton of records. Okay, so in 75, his agent sold a 40-date tour package to a United Kingdom booking agent. He then sold 4 of those dates to a Dublin-based Irish music promoter, Jamaican. At the time, the Troubles were at their height, and few non-resident music and sports teams traveled there because they wanted to live. They'd rather not be, caught up in a war. So Aiken, the music promoter, traveled to Pride's winter 1975-76 concert in Ohio and persuaded Pride to play one of the concerts at Belfast's Ritz Cinema. So he did. He played the concert in November of 76 with his album song, Crystal Chandeliers. Great song. I reacted to it. Subsequently being released as a single in the UK and Ireland, Pride subsequently became a hero to both sides of the conflict for breaking the effective touring concert ban. So because he went and did his thing, he kind of was like, hey, guys, it's okay. His song, Crystal Chandeliers, was seen as a unity song, and the success of Pride's visit enabled Aiken to book further acts into Northern Ireland after his appearance. Wow, I didn't know this either. He performed the national anthem before Game 6 of the 1980 World Series. I remember that. He performed the national anthem at the Super Bowl and again at Game 5 of the 2010 World Series. He became a member of the Opry in 93. In 94, he published his book, Pride, the Charley Pride story. In 2016, he was selected as one of 30 artists to perform on Forever Country. I don't think I've reacted to that one, but I think I've seen the video. In 2020, the CMA announced that Pride would receive the Willie Nelson Lifetime Achievement Award at the 54th Country Music Association Awards in recognition of his work in the genre. The chief executive officer of the CMA explained that Charley Pride is the epitome of a trailblazer. I would second that. I would co-sign it. Of course he is. Determined, in spite of all of the odds. This is how it's going to be, y'all. Few other artists have grown country music's rich heritage and led to the advancement of country music around the world like Charley. His distinctive voice has created a timeless legacy that continues to echo through the country music community today. We could not be more excited to honor Charlie with one of the CMA's highest accolades. I didn't know that there was a Willie Nelson Lifetime Achievement Award. I know now. Well, good for Mr. Charley Pride. He met his wife in 56 while playing baseball in Memphis. They got married while he was on leave, Christmas leave, uh, from Army basic training. They had two sons, Craig and Dion, and a daughter, Angela, five grandkids, two great grandchildren. They lived in Dallas. Ooh. In the 70s, Pride had an extramarital affair with an unmarried Dallas flight attendant. And in 1979, she gave birth to a son, Tyler. In 1990, the woman sued Pride for child support, and Pride responded by contesting the boy's paternity. Controversy. In 1992, after DNA paternity tests demonstrated that Pride was, in fact, the baby daddy, a Texas court ordered Mr. Pride to pay child support until Tyler's 18th birthday. He could afford it. Take care of your baby, man. And further ordered that the boy's surname be changed to Pride. In 97, he had a vocal tumor, a vocal cord tumor removed. Pride was a fan and part owner of the Texas Rangers. He also performed the national anthem at some of the Rangers' games. Pride is a distant relative of blues guitarist and singer Chris Tone Kingfish Ingram. Not sure I know who that is. And of course, Mr. Pride transitioned in December of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. He was 86 years old. In May of 2021, that outside child contested Charlie's will, asserting that he had been omitted to maintain a Pride family secret. Ooh, the drama. And Charlie's brand and his legacy. Probably. In a statement to the Dallas Morning News, Rosine, the executor of Charlie's will, did not dispute that Tyler was Charlie's son, but said that Tyler had been given adequate compensation and recognition during Charlie's life and characterized the lawsuit as a ploy for financial gain. In September of 2022, Tyler Pride said that the lawsuit had been settled for undisclosed terms. I feel like I have a fuller appreciation for Charley Pride. Yes, indeed. Going back to the chat. Let's see. Lori, as always, helping me out. Kaliga. All right, with the pronunciation of the of the Hank Williams song, sung by on the tribute album to Hank Williams by Mr. Charley Pride. Tonka Bean Pumpkin is down with giving me time for my new puppies. I appreciate you. You know, Robin, Rogan, Robin. 1 times 1 equals 2. Still live. Give me 1 second here. And nobody told me that you couldn't hear me. Oh, that was bad. Thank you for telling me I was muted. I appreciate that. I was saying that I feel like I have obviously a much better understanding um, of of who Charlie was to some degree. Part of what I do with these deep dives is I'll at some point, and I'm probably going to record that. Um, but I would typically watch a couple of interviews. Um, I like to watch a couple of early interviews, like way at the beginning, as early as I possibly can, and then midpoint, and then later on in their careers. Um, to see who these people were, see how they sound, how they talk. Do they have an accent? Do they have a lisp? You know, do they use Botox, makeup? Real stalker type stuff. I'm hoping you can hear me now. um, no Popeyes in 1967. I love it. Um, yeah. Charley Pride, pioneer, great baritone voice, humanitarian, athlete, small town boy, hardworking man, good, strong family. I mean, the thing with the stewardess, it was human, right? Mr. Charley Pride. I'll be doing a deep dive into Charley Pride in the coming week. I am first going to do 2 more Red Dirt songs and wrap that up. Speaking of the Red Dirt stuff, just absolutely um, eye-opening for me. Um, the artists that I've listened to just have been really, really wonderful. Great stuff. I've really been enjoying that. So I'll be working on a couple more videos tomorrow, um, which will wrap up our Red Dirt stuff. One of the ones that I'm working on is, and you guys let me know whether it's a Red Dirt song or not, or whether it just has Red Dirt in the title, is Red Dirt Girl by Emmylou Harris, who's, as you guys know, one of my favorite artists. I want to say she is the only country music artist that I've reacted to an entire album for. Quarter Moon in a One Horse Town, I think. Yeah, I think that was the name of it. So I'll be doing that hopefully sometime tomorrow. Emmylou Harris's Red Dirt Girl, working on that now. And there'll be one other one to kind of wrap up the Red Dirt set. And then we'll get into Mr. Charley Pride. Yeah. Any questions for me before I get the heck out of Dodge? First of all, I want to thank all of you for joining me and for hanging out with me and for humoring me. I appreciate your company. I appreciate the camaraderie. I really, really enjoy these little get-togethers. If you want to see me do more of this stuff, just tell me you like it. Go back and click that like button. You know what? You're absolutely right. There's my left brain. Yes, you're absolutely right. I've done 2 albums on the channel. Willie Nelson's album of Cindy Walker songs. Yes, Western swing, Texas swing stuff. Love that album. Love Cindy Walker as a writer. And of course, Willie just brought all of those songs to life. Loved it. And then, of course, Quarter Moon in a One Horse Town was the Emmylou Harris album that I reacted to. Thank you for reminding me, Laurie. Damn, I've done a lot of stuff. Wow. I think I've forgotten half the stuff I've done. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this edition of Good Day Sunday, where it's just me. And like Charley Pride said, that's the way it is. See you guys next time. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Peace.